Welcome to Tzu Chi This Week. I'm Anita Lee. It's good to have you with us. Coming up, we celebrate the groundbreaking of Tzu Chi's first overseas hospital in Jakarta, Indonesia. TIMA doctors from Singapore carried out a 2-day free clinic serving some 4,000 residents in Sri Lanka. In Haiti, Tzu Chi volunteers distributed multi-purpose folding beds to flood survivors in Cap-Haitien. The groundbreaking ceremony of the Indonesia Tzu Chi Hospital on May 31st was attended by Dharma Masters of the Jingsi Abode. The Masters hope that once the hospital is fully operational, it will live up to its mission of serving the medical needs of residents throughout the country. With their best wishes and sincerest blessings, Dharma Masters of the Jingsi Abode in Hualien, Taiwan and Tzu Chi volunteers attended the groundbreaking ceremony of the Indonesia Tzu Chi Hospital. All parties hope that Tzu Chi's mission in promoting a medical culture rooted in humanistic values may take root and flourish locally.
I hope that when Tzu Chi's medical mission takes off here in Indonesia, everyone can work together to relieve the pain and suffering of the sick.
In the future, when people walk into the Tzu Chi hospital, perhaps they will be inspired to sign up as a hospital volunteer, become a donating member, or even to work on behalf of Tzu Chi to spread the seeds of love.
Not only is this a historical moment for Tzu Chi's medical mission overseas, it marks an important milestone for the Tzu Chi Indonesia chapter as well.
Only by establishing a hospital can we bring real value to Indonesia. The hospital's mission is to safeguard lives. I truly believe it will greatly benefit local residents. This is a remarkable milestone for us, and Tzu Chi volunteers in Indonesia are all united behind it.
Tzu Chi volunteers, local residents and entrepreneurs all hope that the hospital will not only serve as a vehicle for safeguarding lives, but also a catalyst for positive change in the country.
If we can practice acts of kindness, we can change someone's life for the better. It's good for a country's overall development, as it helps people break free from the vicious cycle of poverty. Tzu Chi Indonesia has done a great job in helping those who are less fortunate. And since I'm new to Indonesia, I hope to follow closely in their footsteps and learn from them.
The construction of the Indonesia Tzu Chi Hospital will be completed by 2018. The hospital will offer comprehensive medical services in 16 different departments with a dedicated team of highly qualified professional staff. Tzu Chi hospitals in Taiwan have also offered their full support in training local medical personnel.
We can send over staff from the Tzu Chi hospitals to train these specialists. Not only doctors, but other medical professionals as well, including nurses, lab techs, pharmacists, and so on. I believe this will be a good opportunity for exchange and collaboration.
For the past 2 decades, Tzu Chi hospitals in Taiwan have been providing holistic medical care that not only cares for the patient's bodies, but their mind and spirit as well. This will also be the focus of the upcoming Tzu Chi hospital in Indonesia.
Our job shouldn't be just to treat illness. Most of the big hospitals have the manpower and resources to do that, but to care for patients' body, mind, and spirit, as well as their families. This is no easy task, and this is what we hope to achieve.
Insan di Indonesia begitu. Tzu Chi volunteers in Indonesia are confident and determined in their resolve to establish a hospital that helps the disadvantaged.
Tzu Chi volunteers from neighboring countries such as Malaysia, the Philippines, and Singapore also came to extend their blessings.
Because in the future, if we will build a hospital in the Philippines, we will come here to learn from you. We don't have to do a lot of mistakes. We will, I'm sure Tzu Chi Indonesia will help Tzu Chi Philippines too, if we will put up our hospital in the Philippines.
Tzu Chi's disaster relief and medical team recently held a free clinic in Jokhel of Bhaktapur, Nepal. Making do with limited resources, medical volunteers set up the free clinic under a Bodhi tree.
Although the air is filled with dust, Tzu Chi volunteers have gotten used to the conditions in Nepal. The medical volunteers chose a spot under a Bodhi tree at a road junction to hold a free clinic, as the location is convenient for locals. They also turned a nearby poultry shop into a temporary examination room. TIMA Dr. Li Xiaoqing separates the injured patients from those coming for a checkup. Dr. Luo Jun helps a grandma with leg pain sit down on a wicker chair, while a Nepalese volunteer fills her prescription. A local family doctor, Dr. Nurdesh Shakia, takes on different roles, serving as a doctor at free clinics and as a translator when visiting quick victims. One nurse, Hong Xiaoqing, even made a makeshift splint from small wood planks and tape to help stabilize a patient's injured foot.
Maybe it's ugly, but they can help.
In just 2.5 hours, the medical volunteers served 120 residents. Although resources are scarce here, volunteers will continue to deliver the needed medical services to the sick and suffering in Nepal.
To alleviate pain and suffering, TIMA members from Singapore traveled to Sri Lanka to offer their assistance. This time, the 2-day free clinic was organized at the Tzu Chi National School in Hambantota.
As soon as class is dismissed, this free clinic at the Tzu Chi National School in Hambantota officially kicks off. Inside the assembly hall, patients from far and wide have arrived to receive much-needed medical attention. Among the patients is 74-year-old Panche, who waited for nearly 5 hours to see a doctor, knowing that the senior doesn't have the strength to get up on the hospital bed due to her wounded foot. TIMA Dr. Deng Wenhan reaches out with a helping hand.
This grandma is really old and suffers from a foot injury, so I decided to help her out.
Under the attentive care of Dr. Deng, the senior finally regains her smile. Another patient waiting to receive a life-changing surgery is Mohad Kitmil, who often felt embarrassed because of the scars on his forehead left by a car accident. With the assistance of TIMA, Kitmil has rediscovered his self-confidence.
Yeah, I done first operation, but that is not successfully and ugly also because I'm working in the schools as a library assistant. That's why I would like to make surgery.
At the Tzu Chi National School, TIMA doctors from Singapore have transformed classrooms into operating rooms. Patient Nisa Muding says he's extremely worried that the sarcoma on the back of his neck may develop into cancer.
During the surgery, which took about an hour, the doctor kept asking me if I felt any pain. The doctor's kind words really put my heart at ease.
Himana Shanti, a patient with atrophied fingers due to an oil lamp burn, says she never thought that her fingers could move freely again after a previous skin graft surgery.
You can imagine during the dressing, it would have taken her like 3-4 months to recover from her burns. So she has a fear of pain.
Thank you, Tzu Chi, for helping me. I will try my best to repay your assistance.
In just 2.5 days, the free clinic saw more than 3,900 patients and completed more than 120 surgeries. To extend their love and blessings, many patients donated what they could to help quake survivors in Nepal regain the strength to rebuild their lives.
In Taipei, Taiwan, residents came together to join a stem cell donor registration drive with a resolve to save lives. But first, we go to Taichung to see how TIMA Central Taiwan chapter held a free clinic for spinal cord injury sufferers.
Seizing the opportunity, 50-year-old Chen Shuhua signed up to see several doctors. Chen became wheelchair-bound after sustaining a cervical vertebra injury in a car accident 11 years ago.
These doctors and nurses have great love, not just love, but great love and empathy.
Chen Huaguo, who was left paralyzed from a car accident, relies on his mother whenever he has to go to the hospital. To lessen her burden, he keeps his weight at just 50 kilograms, despite being 182 centimeters tall.
At hospitals, we have to line up several times to see doctors of various specialties, and it is inconvenient for him to go to so many different places.
Keeping in mind the needs of spinal cord injury sufferers, TIMA volunteers offer general medicine, ophthalmology, dental, and Chinese medicine, as well as ultrasound exams for kidneys and bladders at the free clinic.
Sometimes they simply don't want to go see doctors and therefore have developed chronic illness or bad sores, and many have urinary system-related problems.
60 medical personnel and more than 20 volunteers offered assistance here.
We set up the venue and direct the clinic attendees to the right areas.
In addition to physical therapy, volunteers and TIMA members made sure to work together to provide the patients with all-important spiritual support. Turning to Taipei, the heavy rain did not stop people from joining the stem cell donor registration drive at the Tzu Chi Eastern District Liaison Office. Among them were a mother-son pair as well as an international student from Malaysia.
We only live once. I would be lucky if I could really save someone.
It's a very meaningful event because we can help others if the opportunity arises.
36-year-old Huang Caiti, who is a Christian, came to help promote stem cell donation. She was diagnosed with acute leukemia 6 years ago, but was able to find a match using the Tzu Chi Stem Cell Center and underwent a successful transplant.
I have acute leukemia, so the cancer cells duplicated rapidly. The doctor told me that I had 2 months left. I was so afraid, and I then understood the master saying, "Who knows if they will live to see tomorrow?"
We receive requests for transplant matching every month. In April, we had more than 480 requests, and in March, more than 500. From these numbers, you can understand why we need to continue to promote stem cell donation.
Currently, 397,026 people are listed in the stem cell donor registry, and 45,041 patients are waiting for a matching donor. Life is priceless, and each potential donor is giving countless people a second chance at life.
Following the severe floods that inundated Haiti's Cap-Haitien at the end of 2014, Tzu Chi volunteers launched cash for work programs and carried out aid distributions. Continuing their efforts to care for residents, volunteers recently distributed folding beds to those still coping with the aftermath of the flood.
I often deliver rice and beans to her. She attends Mass every week and is usually the first one to arrive.
I'm always the first one to arrive, so I'm the one who opens the church doors on Sundays.
Unfortunately, she went blind and suffers from poor health, so I visit her every month. She goes hungry for days because she is poor and only eats when neighbors or relatives send her food. If not, she just goes hungry. I brought a bed for you so you can sleep more comfortably.
I can finally lie down to sleep.
California, USA.
My friends can sit on it and I can sleep on it at night. Flood waters ruin my belongings, including my mattress and important documents. I went to the church today, and I did not expect to get a bed. It's a nice surprise. Thank you, Tzu Chi. Thank you, Father Valen.
Next, we join Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan as they helped an old couple in Tuchen, New Taipei City, clean out their cluttered home. Some 50 volunteers worked relentlessly despite the heat and managed to return the house to a clean state in just one morning. Unwanted items are scattered across the floor of Mr. and Mrs. Chow's home, leaving no room for walking.
The bedroom is only big enough for one person to sleep in. There is no bed, there's nothing, just a place to sleep. They don't even own a lamp, and Mr. Cao sleeps in a chair. Empathizing with the couple, some 50 Tzu Chi volunteers teamed up to help them declutter their home. To protect themselves as they work, Tzu Chi volunteers donned raincoats and put on facial masks and gloves despite the heat. They also constantly checked in with Mrs. Chow regarding which items can be discarded and which cannot. Tzu Chi volunteers make sure to respect the homeowners and always ask for their permission before going ahead with any task. Gradually, Mrs. Chow also let her guard down and was more willing to cooperate with the volunteers. These are already expired. It's bad for your health if you eat it. The things you don't need, you need to throw out.
We found money on the floor, so we put it here on the table.
The money collected from the sale of recyclables and scrap metal was also given to Mrs. Chow. Volunteers set aside items which are still usable to be recycled or sold, whereas items which are no longer useful are discarded.
All the items we moved downstairs must have weighed over 60 kilograms.
In just one morning, the house has finally been returned to a clean state. However, volunteers also came across an unwelcome guest. The Chow home is now finally spick and span again. Volunteers also discovered that the home is in need of repairs and promised to be back in the coming days to help. Days of heavy rainfall in central Taiwan at the end of May caused much damage to houses, including the home of an 86-year-old grandmother who lives in Dajia, Taichung. Upon learning of her situation, the local borough head turned to Tzu Chi for assistance. Meanwhile, Tzu Chi volunteers in Tainan helped a woman with Parkinson's disease clean and repair her home. With the ceiling caved in and the roof on the verge of collapse, this is the home of Miss Cui. As Miss Cui suffers from Parkinson's and lives alone, the local borough head turned to Tzu Chi for help. In March of this year, Tzu Chi volunteers carried out repairs on Miss Cui's home.
I've taken a look at her roof. When I first saw it, I was taken aback, because when you're standing in her house and looking up, you can actually see the moon.
We even added a light steel frame to the ceiling and then called more volunteers to help with the cleanup.
Setting aside time from their weekend, more than 30 volunteers got together to move all the items out of Miss Cui's home. As volunteers worked away to clean Miss Cui's house, not only was there dust everywhere, they also stumbled upon several insects. Once all the furniture had been moved out of the house, volunteers immediately set out to paint the walls. Yang Yongwei, who is volunteering for the first time, was deeply moved.
There was a lot of dust everywhere. I just wanted to get out of there. But I was really moved when I see how focused the Tzu Chi aunties were. They continued to clean and sweep until the house was spotless.
Now, Miss Cui's home looks as good as new. With the volunteers' blessings and well wishes, Miss Cui's house finally feels like home again. The 70-year-old house with the roof on the verge of collapse can no longer withstand the wind and rain. It is hard to imagine that this is where 86-year-old grandmother Huang calls home.
It's been raining a lot recently and the walls are damaged. There are cracks in the walls and the ceiling also collapsed. There's no one to turn to when life is this difficult. I'm just trying to take it one day at a time.
Not only are there signs of water leakage inside the house, the roof and walls are on the verge of collapse. As the grandmother lives alone with her disabled son and is unable to repair the house on her own, the local borough head contacted Tzu Chi volunteers who arrived with aid and consolation cash to help.
Her life has been difficult, so we brought some aid supplies and consolation cash to provide immediate relief, and will continue to care for her.
Learning of the grandmother's situation, kind-hearted residents also visited the senior with snacks and offered their assistance.
A lot of people came to visit today. They said they wanted to check out the senior's house.
As it is now typhoon season in Taiwan, the local borough head has pointed out that the first priority would be to repair the senior's roof. However, as the application for financial assistance has yet to be approved by the township office, the borough head is currently seeking for other alternatives to assist the senior. Tzu Chi volunteers in Hong Kong recently held several Buddha Day ceremonies which were joined by local volunteers and residents. At the end of the day, everyone left with a more peaceful and open heart. This is the first time that Hong Kong's Taiwan Tzu Chi volunteers are holding their Buddha ceremony in Heng Keng Estate. After days of searching, volunteers found the perfect location at the public plaza. After years of holding free clinics and tea gatherings, the volunteers are a familiar face in Heng Keng Village. Thus, dozens of residents decided to help with the venue.
We're very happy to help with this Buddha Day ceremony. We have seen many in the neighborhood coming to help out, as well as local volunteers. For all of us, we believe this is an event worth supporting.
Also coming to pay her respects to the Buddha was the centenarian. For many, this was their first time experiencing the beauty of the ceremony. This couple showed up 2 hours early.
It was a very serene event. It gave me time to reflect.
While in Shu Sai Wan, Tzu Chi volunteers held yet another Buddha Day ceremony. Volunteer Cai Jianwen was in charge of setting up the venue, capturing the event on film and presenting an offering to the Buddha.
I am Chinese. Tzu Chi is also Chinese. I'm a Tzu Chi volunteer, so I need to be ready to do anything. The more I do, however, the more I get in return.
Dharma Master Zhi Miao was also in attendance and expounded on the 6 parameters for the audience.
We want those around us to not suffer, but to feel happiness instead. In this world, we need to bear different pains, so to train and refine ourselves. This is the spirit of Tzu Chi and something that we can all learn from.
At the end of the event, volunteers handed out apples and peace charms, hoping to see participants once again. Tzu Chi volunteers in the Philippines organized a scholarship award ceremony for some 1,300 students at the Jingsi Hall in Quezon City. Tzu Chi's aid will help pave the way towards a brighter future for these youngsters. Thank you for watching Tzu Chi This Week. Goodbye.